Hey folks, in today's episode, we're going to go through the SCYTHE Modular Board expansion.
You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, thanks for sticking around. I'm Carlos with the Beans and Dice podcast, and this is the SCYTHE Modular Board expansion. What you're going to get in it is the rulebook itself. You're going to get new structure bonus tiles, as well as markers for different home bases. And you get a whole new board, nice big board, for use with the modular board setup. All right, let's get started with the rulebook. Originally, I got a little nervous when I opened up this package because the rulebook is a little bit big. What I found is it has 11 different languages. So really, as an English reader myself, I'm only going to focus on these 2 pages. The remainder of this book is just different interpretations of these 2 pages. So it makes it real easy to add this module to our game group's game days. Big differences are going to be the addition of the new board, which has no terrain locations on it. You're actually going to add tiles to that board to give you terrain locations. It helps you with the rules to make sure you set up in a way that everyone has an equal opportunity to be successful at that game. It's going to add these inactive base tiles. It's going to give you some faction-specific reminders. And then what we're really going to do is add these structured bonus tiles that play a little bit differently than the original game, give you more variety in the regular game. You're also going to find that it updates the automa as well. So for those of you that love to play this automa solo, here's your update. One of the main features of this product is the new board that you get, because this board is specifically for the modular game. The board itself has 2 different sides, and from what I can tell on the board, the differences with the 2 sides are just the permanent locations, the permanent areas. Those territories have different resources on them, so it's going to, right from the beginning, picking randomly one side or the other is going to change how the game is going to be played each time. And then from there, you're going to be placing these tiles to fill in these green areas with different resources, different lakes. So that's going to make it even more different every time you play the game. So the replayability of this game is really ramped up. This is one of the biggest pieces of feedback from my game group, was the feeling that the game could be broken or learned. And what I mean by that is knowing which faction you are. You know what the best steps are going to be for most every game on how to get a good start, because you already know what resources are near you every time. With this expansion, it's going to keep every player on their toes every time we play the game, because it's going to be all new to all of us. And I love that, leveling the playing field for new players as well as experienced players alike. The first step in setting up the board is going to be filling in these green areas with tiles. You're going to get these tiles, and the goal is going to be to place them so that they're orientated properly with the orientation of the board, but you're going to do them randomly. So you shuffle them up a little bit. They are 2-sided, and then you're going to place them so the orientation fits the board. Clarification in the rules is to remind you that any home space should not be adjacent a lake. If ever a home space is adjacent a lake, for example, in this situation, rulebook says to flip this tile such that there's no longer a lake adjacent to that home space. It keeps a level playing field for everyone. This really does help to balance out the game. Once the board is filled with tiles, completing the setup, you then take the home base tiles, you're going to shuffle them up and distribute them on each of the home base spaces. Once they're revealed, each player will then be given randomly a player mat. And then you're going to start in descending order. So the highest number goes first, working your way down to the lowest number of the player mats. We're going to choose which faction you want to be. The rulebook does remind you of some of the forbidden combinations. For example, the Roosevets cannot have the industrial mat, and the Crimeans cannot have the patriotic mat. I really do like how the setup itself is going to change the game every single time. You're going to see different factions next to different other factions that are not used to being near. You're going to see resources that are different from other resources that you're used to getting when you play that faction. It really does spice the game up. And the fact that there's always an inactive home base every time you play just changes the way the game feels, the setup, and it adds that new spiciness to the game that I really enjoy. One of the cool features of the game expansion is it provides all new structure bonus tiles. And I think one of the funnest one for me, the spiciest one, is right here. And what this tile does, it gives you bonus points for the number of structures adjacent to any home base or the factory. If you look at the board, you're only going to ever get 2 for placing them next to your home base, which means A, you got to make a beeline for the factory to get some structures built over there, or B, do what I like to do. Show up next to somebody else's home base and drop a structure right next to it, kind of claiming your spot. Structure bonus tiles, big plus. Well, that's going to do it for my component review of the SCYTHE Modular Board expansion. My hope is that you get to see what comes in the product, why it's a lovely product, the fact that you get an all-new board, you get random setups for the game so that the game is going to be different every time, and you get tiles to use as structure bonuses for any future game, not even just the modular game, but also in your regular games of SCYTHE, it adds those new bonuses. So I hope you enjoyed. Click that like button, hit the subscribe button for more content. I'm Carlos with the Beans and Dice podcast. Comment below. Tell us what you think of the SCYTHE Modular Board. Even better, call in our call-in show, Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Call in, tell us what you think of SCYTHE or the SCYTHE Modular Board expansion.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.